Hey there, this is your co-host Steve, and you're listening to Plain Donuts, the podcast. Enjoy the show.
My dog ruined our silence.
This was a good comedic timing, though.
I know.
As soon as Steve started to record, the dog started barking.
Runs in the family. It's so stupid. You know what's weird is before. Okay, so when I did comedy for a little while, people would always show up at open mics and stuff. It's the stereotype, when I'm with my friends, I'm funny, so of course I'll be funny on stage, and that hardly ever happens, right? But I think it's a weird trait to be like, oh, I'm funny.
Yeah.
You know,
that is kind of weird. Like, your job is to be funny, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is my job, is to be funny, so enough people laugh.
Yeah.
Like, at least 5 or more in this small venue.
Well, we try pretty hard on this podcast to make people laugh, but we, have no idea
I don't know
if
how
they
many...
are.
Are you laughing right now? Press 1 if you're laughing. Rate 5 stars if you think we suck.
Mm-hmm. If you think this podcast is terrible, go on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
If you think this podcast is great, go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating.
That'll show us.
Well,
It'll really show us.
We'll feel so bad about all our 5-star ratings. Alicia, are you very tired today?
I'm really tired today.
Why are you so tired?
I'm tired because we had a picture day, and...
Why does picture day make you tired?
Picture day makes me tired when we have to walk a far distance to go get our pictures taken. And, but actually it was pretty fun once we got there. I was with my coworker, and, it was in this big, huge studio at, the 3rd floor of this random building in downtown Salt Lake.
Oh, really? That hip city, Salt Lake?
Hip, hip. Hooray!
Sorry.
We both work in the hip city of Salt Lake City, home of the Utah Jazz.
I think you mean Tech Lake City.
Or Silicon Slopes.
The Silicon Slopes. Silicone?
I still
I don't know.
silicone. Anything you can say. Oh, no, just kidding. I can say more differently.
I think you're thinking of a different song.
I know, but I want to keep going. I want to work so bad.
Is that one you say tomato?
I say
tomato.
Tomato. You say potato. I say potato. Tomato. Tomato.
Potato. Potato.
Let's write the whole thing off.
Okay, so now that we've done a musical song, and now, of course, this will be the week that Lin-Manuel Miranda, listens to the podcast.
Listen, and he'll be like, they're so good at doing all of the things.
No, so this week is the week he'll listen in and be like, they really butchered that one.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Unsubscribe.
Unsub.
Secretly, he was subscribed the whole time. And I just didn't say anything.
The whole time Lin-Manuel Miranda was like, I can't let him know, but I love this podcast.
It's so good.
It's the best podcast I ever heard.
I guess...
You had to walk 3 miles for your pictures?
No. It was it felt like it's probably a mile-ish, mile and a half. It felt like
One way or both ways?
Both ways, which I was not wearing the right shoes, and I was also at the end of the day, and... Then I had to take the train and then the bus and then walk from the bus station back to my house. So
that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that.
So I was like, this is a really long commute day for me.
Dude, it's weird how, so just riding the train is usually fine because I, can distract myself pretty easily and I get home and I'm fine. But if you, have to have a long commute that is extra intensive, if you have to drive and it's really trafficky, or if you have to, figure out a bus route or something, it's always,
It's, weirdly, I don't know, your brain is I'm tired now. It's when you drive for a really long time, and you're not doing anything, on a road trip, for example. You drive for 6-7 hours, and you get there, you're oh, I'm tired, why? Why am I tired? I literally sat down and stared at the road.
Well, it's brain fatigue, right?
Yeah.
You don't realize how hard you're working, but My brother-in-law, Chris, shout out to Chris. He shared my post this week about getting questions. But he once was saying, like, you don't realize how much stuff you're doing when you drive. Like especially if you're driving a stick, you've got to change gears and do the shift and do all the stuff. I don't drive a stick anymore, but like, unfortunately, my wife just doesn't know how. So like, we just don't have a stick shift anymore.
I know how to drive manual, but it's always so stressful for me. And I've done it for a long time, so it's not like I am ignorant in the ways of driving a manual car. But whenever I'm on a hill and someone pulls up behind me, like, there's always, like, that panic. Like, what if I roll back into him? So then I always, like, gun it. So I'm just like, like, Marty McFly, like, right out the gate going, 88 miles an hour.
So it's a little harder to do in an automatic, but with a stick shift, you can put it in gear and like hover when you're on a hill, just enough to where you're giving it enough gas to hold itself in place but not move. So you actually don't have to use your brake at all. I love that about a stick shift. And actually, one of my favorite things to do is like downshift to slow down, because then you just like take your foot off the gas and you're slowing down like fast. I don't know, it just makes you feel like you have power, which is weird.
Yeah.
Or like, when I was first learning, so when you write like an iPhone app, you can use Swift now, which is the language, or you can use Objective-C. And it used to just be Objective-C. And when I was first learning Objective-C, they didn't have any automatic memory management, so you had to allocate and deallocate memory all on your own for like everything that you created. So it's like really like almost, it's really close to the metal of a computer to basically say use some memory for this object, right? But it's really cool because you're like, I feel so powerful, I can make that computer do anything.
I hear what you're saying, Steve. I hear what you're saying.
Sorry.
I have no idea what you're saying, but I hear what you're saying.
I apologize for being like so niche-y just now. Yeah. All of the people that listen to us who are programmers are like, I get this.
Yeah, this is good.
I get it.
No, my friends are like, what? I don't know. I just stereotyped all of my friends.
Oh, it's fine. No,
I'm sure there are some who know what I'm talking about.
Sometimes you just have to prove how smart you are. You know what I'm saying?
I can read
I'm just joking.
sheet music.
Alicia, come on. I will prove how smart you are right now. You can read like 200 pages in a sitting.
I can. And I actually read a full book today on my way to work and back.
To and from work, you read an entire... How long was it? How many pages?
It was like 316 pages.
See? Not a lot of people can have that skill.
It was a good book, so...
Oh, I saw that you finished The Golem and the Ginny.
I did. It was so good.
Nice.
I really liked it. And I was telling Steve, there's like one detail, because it was really like an excellent, excellent read. I recommend this book to everyone. It's like really engrossing, and the characters are really interesting, and the setting is really cool. Like, 1889, New York City, like there's lots of new people coming in, like immigrants, and, it's different cultures. It's really cool. But the one detail that bugged me was they kept referring to the Statue of Liberty as the green, lady. And if you're a native New Yorker like myself, just kidding. So ignorant. The Statue of Liberty was actually built in 1886, and it's made of copper. So, and I don't think it would have been as, patinaed into green by 1889. Maybe it has been, and I'm just being the ignorant fool.
Maybe.
But I feel like it'd still be pretty a copper color at, within a couple years, especially if they're still assembling it and everything. But.
Hey Siri, what do you call me?
You're Steve, but you asked me to call you my lord and master.
Nice. Okay, so what year did the Statue of Liberty turn from copper to green?
Checking my sources.
Nice.
Here's what I found on the web for nice. Okay, so what year did the Statue of Liberty turn from copper to green?
It doesn't say. Let's see. What? There's a question. Maybe this is a Wonderopolis. What? Okay, let's see. Have you ever wondered?
Okay, it says, although the process of weathering that turned the copper covering the Statue of Liberty from brown to green from 1886 was gradual, color images indicated that by 1920 the transformation was complete. So, listen up, author of this book. 3 years passed in 1889 from 1886. It should have still been a slightly coppery color and not green.
Yeah, she's gonna be so offended though. Like she's
gonna send me hate tweets.
You know what? We should tweet at her and say, "Hey, we have a correction for you, and we said it on the podcast.
Yeah, so
our giant audience is now gonna know.
Our giant audience of 100-ish, maybe people
on a good week is." Well, good weeks are 90-ish. We've been averaging about 60. It's pretty dang good.
Yeah, that's good.
It's really good numbers, guys.
Good numbers. You would know if you had a podcast how hard it is to get numbers.
Yeah, you'd know. You would know. So I started streaming a while back, and like a good stream. So actually, plug my friend. Jacob, Night Ghost 49 is going to be on the podcast next week, actually. Boom. And he's a regular streamer and YouTuber. But
you've probably heard of him before.
You probably haven't. But anyway, he's awesome. You might have. I don't know. Anyway, he when he streams and he has, I think, about like 700 hearts or whatever on Twitch, right? But when he's streaming, his viewership is like 25 to 30 maybe. Like that's the regular common number of viewers. So like when I was streaming, I would get like 3 to 5, maybe 10 like max in a stream. And so I was telling people like, oh yeah, I've been trying to stream. It's been fun. And my friend was like, oh, how many people do you have? And I was like, 3, 5 or so. And he's like, oh man, I've watched a streamer who has 2,000. And I'm like, yeah, those guys somehow got super lucky or just worked really hard to get that audience.
That's so crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched Steve stream a couple times and it was fun because, I don't know, I was in a totally... I think I was over at Jeremy's house. Maybe. We were all watching, and we were like sending comments, and it was just kind of fun little interaction. So I prefer, the lesser known streamers because I can get more personalized time with them.
Well, and then you can say like you knew them before, and then you could be like a super streamer hipster.
Yeah.
Wow, those words are fun.
And I'm pushing up my glasses now.
Nice.
Just kidding, I don't wear glasses, but I used to.
You did.
And then I got laser vision correction.
Oh, yeah.
So call me the superhero Chalky Laser Eyes.
Remember Chalky Laser Eyes?
From our last episode.
What a sweet callback. Yeah. Oh, man. Our continued callbacks are just... So that's why everyone has to watch from the very first episode. Yeah. Just kidding.
Just don't do that. They're not bad.
No.
We were just green.
Yeah, green. We still kind of are, right?
Yeah. And we're actually talking about our 6-month podcast-versary.
Yeah, which is going to be in 4 episodes. Yeah. The 26th episode will literally be 6 whole months. Or, well, exactly half a year. I don't know how many months that is, really.
I think that's pretty impressive, though. We're pretty regular at putting out a podcast.
I'm pretty regular, yep.
Yep. Steve is pretty regular.
Nice. Anyway.
69. Nice. That's kind of an inside joke because one of our podcasts got exactly 69 downloads.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of funny.
I sent Alicia a message and I said, hey, this podcast has 69 downloads.
And I was like, stop it immediately.
delete it from the internet.
Delete it so it can only have 69.
If you don't get that joke, you will someday.
Yeah, kiddos. Hey there, kids.
So anyway, how's your week been besides Picture Day? What's up?
Yeah, that's pretty much the level of excitement that happens in my life.
Picture Day is the most exciting thing.
Exciting. I actually really like, I don't know, I like getting like group pictures and like doing stuff like that. I think it's fun and I don't know. I like that. I like that kind of thing.
That's cool.
So,
do you like to get like dressed up and all made up for pictures or something?
I do, but I'm really bad at like knowing the days too. But today was like the first day I was like, wait a minute, something's happening today, and I like check the schedule. I'm like, oh, it's picture time for me.
Nice.
So I like got, you know, and I even wore a funny shirt, not on purpose, but it was too late for me to change.
Yeah.
Right now I'm wearing a shirt that says espresso, then prosecco, which is wine. So coffee and then wine.
Nice.
So nice.
Never the twain shall be opposed. You shouldn't
never.
switch them.
Yeah.
Don't do wine and then coffee.
Wine and then coffee, that'll make you sick.
Will it?
I don't know, but if you do drink coffee and wine, take it from me, an expert on drinking both. Don't drink them at the same time, because you'll get really bad heartburn and you'll just feel really yucky.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
That's it? That's your whole week?
That's it. I mean, I'm planning, in May, Shannon and I are going to Ireland.
Oh, nice.
Ireland.
Shout out to Shannon.
Shannon.
We have to do all these shout outs because nobody asked us any questions
I know.
this
So
week.
shout out to Shannon. Shout out to Jeremy and Riz Khalifa.
Oh, man, I love Riz Khalifa. More than Jeremy himself. Just kidding.
Oh, Riz
Jeremy
hates
a lot.
me so much.
Oh, it's so funny because, like,
I love her more than anybody, I think.
of all the people who would be offended that a dog didn't like them, you're like the top of the
I'm
list.
like so heartbroken. This dog, when I pick her up, she will physically put her paws on my chest and like
push
away, like with a lot of force in this awkward French bulldog body, which is kind of disproportionate, you know.
Yeah.
But that's just, you know, they're breeding. So adopt, don't shop.
Whoa!
Just stop. I don't know. French bulldogs. Like
I don't know if you knew this, but we're millennials, so once in a while we just have to shout out slogans.
Shout out things. That's the theme for our episode is adopt, don't shop.
#resist.
Just kidding. But I think, well, our real theme is presidents.
Yeah, because Monday is President's Day.
And our Valentine's themed episode was last week, so if you missed out, so sad, too bad.
I mean, we can still talk about Valentine's a little if you want, because it hasn't happened yet,
That's
and
true.
it will just have happened when we release the episode.
That's true.
But I figured it would be better to like have a like preparatory Valentine's episode than one that was late.
People are probably like, oh, maybe we just save someone's Valentine's Day.
Always early, never late. So I used to, speaking of always early, never late, I used to work at this place where if payday fell on the weekend, if it fell on Saturday, you'd get paid on Friday, but if it fell on Sunday, you'd get paid on Monday, and it was like the worst. Because I didn't get paid enough at that job. Yeah. So like
that like period of time, because like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 4 days.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have like a 3-day business like grace period when you're paying bills. So that's like the exact moment when that grace period is like
cut off.
And
you dead.
You're dead.
So that was pretty bad. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all. But now, since then, I've worked at places that if it fell on a weekend, you just got paid on Friday, which is way better. And my brother-in-law, again, man, a lot of stories about Chris H tonight. But I was talking to him about that because it was like super frustrating. And I was like, I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. Well, sucks. And he was like, yeah, in the military, that's their whole thing is always early, never late.
Wow.
So, so anyway, that's why we post the podcast on Wednesdays and don't talk about it until Thursdays.
Yes. So there you go.
And that's why we did our Valentine's episode last week and not this week.
Logic.
Always early, never late. Man, we really took it around.
We took it always early.
So I guess I should talk about Why Week, since yours is boring as could to be. I didn't want to use our one F-bomb, actually. You know, our one PG-13 F-bomb.
Oh, yeah, PG-13.
So, anyway.
You say AF, that's like the thing now.
Can you?
Yeah.
Are you still, can you say that? And, like, see on TV, if you say F you, then they actually bleep the F.
They bleep out the F?
Yeah, because... Yeah, because it's bad.
That's so weird.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's like saying the word, what is it? I think asshole. They'll bleep out. Oh, wait, I used a swear. I'm sorry, Steve. I used our swear.
I don't care.
I used our one swear.
Anyway.
But they bleep out hole.
Oh, yeah,
Which is weird. It's like, I mean, why not bleep out the other part? I'm not a ratings censorship person. Down with censorship.
So if I think about that though, like what? Like where did that etymology? What is the etymology for that? Like a hole full of donkeys? Is that?
I don't know. And I think they say arse.
Hey Siri. Just kidding. Just kidding. Sorry, Siri.
Siri's getting all worked up. My lord and master, she says.
Hey Siri, what is the etymology for asshole?
She's like, well, my lord
Let
and
me
master,
check my
Steve.
sources.
Yeah, here's what the web says.
Anyway.
Yeah, tell us
So,
about your week.
last week I hadn't released the news yet because I didn't know, but I did not get that promotion that I applied for.
Boo!
It's all right.
You're too good for them.
It was fine. I didn't think I would get it going in. Like, it was kind of a bummer. Like, you know, because you do the interview and then you're like, oh man, it'd be cool to get this job.
Yeah.
And I didn't think the interview went badly, so like, maybe I will get this job. And you go through all these emotions.
Did they wait to give you a letter in the mail?
No, they didn't. There was no waiting for a letter. They sat me down and they gave me some feedback about stuff I could work on. And like, it was kind of weird because I didn't understand some of it. And so like, I went back and was like, what did this mean? I don't really understand where this is coming from, or like, you know, and that was like really frustrating because I wanted feedback and I really appreciate that I got it, but like I felt like, oh, this doesn't feel actionable. I just feel confused and discouraged, you know. But I'm better now. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
The emotions were just kind of raw, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm sorry that happened.
Oh,
next
it's fine.
Next time you'll get a $2 million promotion instead of just a $1
since
million. Since you're already a millionaire and all.
A bazillionaire for sure. So much money. Man, sometimes I think about it. Like, if I had $1 million in the bank, I'd be like, man, I could do anything I want.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I probably literally could do anything with like $100,000 too.
yeah. Well, and so I heard online, the Game Grumps actually said, like, it was Danny from the Game Grumps talking about, like, if you lived like you think millionaires live, you'd have to have like $10 million.
Yeah.
If you had 1 million, you couldn't really live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't need that lifestyle.
Yeah.
I just
want a decent cheesesteak.
Yeah.
You know, a pool floaty. I don't even want a pool. I just want to go to a pool.
I don't know. I just think about, like, my problem is like, if I just had money that could make me survive just there, then I could like do anything I wanted. I could quit my job and just do anything, you know? Like, not that I dislike my job. I hate saying that I can quit my job because, like, I couldn't right now, first of all. And I like my job, but like, it's just interesting because, like, I don't know, people always think that's kind of the dream, like, right, like, work for yourself. Yeah. It would be great, but anyway.
Yeah, I think if I had like $100,000, I probably would still keep working and then like pay off some debts and then be like, hey, let's go on a really nice vacation like for 10 years in a row or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I just want the simple things. and a yacht. I just really want a yacht.
I really want the simple things and a yacht.
And a yacht.
You could live on a yacht.
Like, I'll be making top ramen in my yacht. Like, sounds like a great thing for me.
Top ramen has way too many calories for the nourishment it provides, which is very little.
Very little nourishment.
Yeah.
And also, if you eat only top ramen for a whole summer, you will get heart palpitations.
Really? Mm-hmm. Did that happen to you?
That happened to me.
Why did you eat only top ramen?
I actually was trying an experiment, but it was not an official experiment where I like actually wrote down any results or anything. But I was like, I'm gonna eat only top ramen all summer as a like 15-year-old, 14-year-old, 15, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
how did your parents allow this to happen?
They were very not involved in my life. So
okay.
Yeah. So I ate top ramen, and then I think we were playing, I don't know, I was playing soccer or something, and usually I'm not a sports person, so me playing soccer is like, what are you doing? But I think it was just like a game with friends. And I was like suddenly feeling, I could like feel my heart just like not beat normal. And when your heart's beat normal for 15 years of your life and it suddenly doesn't beat normal, you're like this is bad. This is really bad.
Yeah.
So I laid down for a long time, and then I went home, and then I drank a lot of water, and then I stopped eating Top Ramen for every meal.
Yeah. Good Lord.
And I think what it wasn't necessarily like the ramen itself, but the amount of sodium that I was consuming was like off the charts.
Well,
like,
and like no other nutrients.
no, yeah. So it was wild.
Man, that's bad. That's a crazy story.
Crazy, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you survived.
Yeah.
Jeez, because then we wouldn't have a podcast.
I know, it would be so sad.
It's the only reason I care.
Thanks, Steve.
Just joking.
Steve's got the brains and I've got the heart. I don't know.
So, also, let's see. Is there anything else that happened this week? I don't know. We watched Arrival last night, which is a really, really good science fiction movie, but you can't talk about it except with people who have seen it, because otherwise you're just giving stuff away, and it's like, oh man, it's so good, but I just want to talk about it with people, and I keep so the reason I really wanted to watch it primarily was because Mikey Newman put it on his the movies with Mikey top 5 of 2016. So Arrival was one of his top 5, and I was like, oh man, I've wanted to see that anyway, and now after his description of it, I really want to see it, but he made very intentional strides to not give anything away. Nice. So man, it's really, really good, but I just want to I feel like sending him a message and be like, Mikey, when you said this makes you question your own morality, did you mean this? And
I don't need to talk with someone about this.
You're the only one I know, and I don't know you at all. Last time I tweeted at you, you ignored me. It's all right. He's responded to me once, and I made a whole YouTube video about it.
That's true.
Anyway,
biggest fan.
I know. It's really I don't know. I guess I just don't understand the dynamic of being someone who has people tweeting at you that are strangers regularly, or people who are trying to talk to you regularly. Other than the flat earthers who came out.
They came out for you so. It was so hard. Good. That was the most bizarre Twilight Zone-y. And I don't like getting in confrontational situations, but if there's a good one set up that I can watch and not participate in, count me in 100%, because I love it.
The weirdest thing about that was that all these people were sort of mobbing me, or so it felt like, right?
Yeah. Well, there was at least 3, right?
There were 2 or 3 people. I think, there were definitely 3. There might have been more just here and there or whatever, but all these people who believe something insane telling me that I'm stupid because I call it into question. And I'm like, oh, fake news.
Don't you mean alternative news, Steve?
No, I don't. All the news is fake now.
Yeah. Also, speaking of celebrities who are getting tweeted at a million times, Lin-Manuel Miranda, why have you not tweeted me back?
I don't think he's listening. I really don't.
I think I want to believe so bad that he listens to this.
He's so busy right now.
I know, he's got so much he's doing, and he literally has no time in his life for other extra things. And I just want his attention because I'm spoiled and I'm an only child, and I'm used to getting all the attention.
Are you an only child?
I am an only child.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't?
For some reason, I thought there must be some other sibling in your life.
Mystery sibling.
This all makes sense now. Why you always think you should get what you ask for.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's just because it's fair.
Steve the boss will not give it to you.
Steve the boss. Steve is my boss if you're just tuning in for the first time.
I am not.
I love saying that Steve's my boss because it makes him flustered.
It does make me uncomfortable. This is so there's a girl that at this place that I used to work that when she started there, she was actually friends with another guy there, and that's kind of how she got her foot in the door or whatever, but she was reading 50 Shades of Grey or something. No, definitely 50 Shades of Grey. Well, that's just what we had a really weird job where when there were deadlines, you would just work until you were done, or basically until the deadline.
Yeah.
And so we would work all hours, and so sometimes she would read or whatever. But she would read 50 Shades of Grey, and for some reason, like, she was really open about talking about it, and I like, she knew it made me super uncomfortable, and so she would always like talk about it just to see me be like,
I feel like that's borderline harassment.
Oh, it wasn't like,
but, I mean, I don't know, but
well, the thing is like, it was sort of like, it wasn't like I'm trying to make you uncomfortable because I want to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
We were kind of friends, and so as a teasing, she would be like, haha, look how uncomfortable you are because
let me read this passage about Christian Grey and Anastasia Steele. Jeez. I don't know why I know their names, but...
Yeah, why are you gonna read me the contract?
Yeah.
And there was a portion she wouldn't sign. Did you know that?
I did.
It's so awkward.
Oh, I remember when I worked at the job before I work at now, there was some people who were talking about 50 Shades of Grey, and at first I was like, what are they talking about? Then, like, the more I listened, I was like, oh, that's what they're talking about.
Do you remember the Saturday Night Live episodes that came out when that came out? And they were like, for some reason it was all about like moms and getting their jollies, I guess is the way to say it without being too offensive. But man, it was awkward. The whole time was very awkward for me. And now the movies are coming out, and like, I'm like, of course I'm not going to see that, you know?
So wait, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Not that I don't know anything about this, but was 50 Shades of Grey based off of a fan fiction? Like, it was originally a fan fiction of Twilight.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes. In fact, I've heard E.L. James say that herself, that she started out writing Twilight fan fiction.
Oh my god!
Like, it's such a weird story because it's like she was like a she didn't work for some reason. Yeah. She might have been a stay-at-home mom or whatever, but she was like, I just decided I was going to write a book one year and started writing some Twilight fan fiction, and this was it. And I'm like, what? How? Yeah. And then she self-published it, and it just got super popular. So, like, you're an idiot of a publisher if something sells and you don't buy it. So she got, like, officially published.
That's so, like, bizarre to me. I don't know.
It's really weird.
And the premise, I mean, it's just not... Okay, let me just say this. If people are two consenting adults in a consensual relationship, do what you want. But if there's, like, weird, stuff and, like, stalking and abuse and, like, manipulation, that's, like... I don't know why people would like that.
Well, the thing is...
unless it's, like, framed in a way where it's like, ooh, he only stabs me in the leg to keep me here because he loves me, and it's part of our contract. Just kidding, I don't know.
Well, so there are people from the whole, like sadomasochism
like the
community.
BDSM community?
Yeah, the BDSM community. Who, like, hate it because the implication is, like, this celebrates that kind of relationship. Yeah. But really, it conflates that with actual, like, relationship abuse.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's not what a relationship that's into that kind of thing is really about.
Yeah.
And, like, it's really bad news.
So weird.
Like that girl on the internet who was like, if my boyfriend doesn't hit me, it doesn't mean he loves me enough or something like that. Have you that's a real girl.
Seriously?
Who said, yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, geez.
We have to look it up now.
I don't know if I can handle this. So bad.
If he doesn't hit you, he doesn't love you.
Like, she said that about other people? Or
pretty
about
much,
herself?
like, about herself. Let's see. This is... Oh, yeah. Woman beater lover.
Oh, my gosh.
She was on Dr. Phil,
No.
too. Here we go.
Okay, hey guys. So I wanted to address...
It's ASMR first.
With you girls, about your boyfriends or the guy you're talking to. And I just wanted to say that if your boyfriend or the guy that you're with puts his hands on you, like he hits you or beats you up or whatever he does, stay with him. That nigga loves you.
Okay.
Whoa.
All those cusses.
Whoa.
Sorry about that. I might have to bleep it. But anyway. That girl is
Wow, that person is really in trouble.
Anyway.
Like, that just makes me really...
I didn't know that there were going to be cusses in there.
Such a great comedy podcast.
It was so good. No, but she, it's really bad. And
Wow.
she was like 14 or something. Like,
what?
When she said that, yeah. So, like, basically, I don't know. When you're young, you have stupid ideas. And you need somebody to tell you how wrong your ideas are.
Girl.
And it needs to be Dr. Phil, apparently.
Dr. Phil is probably, like, the least qualified person to help.
Yeah. No, he's
at least that's somebody, right?
He was a real doctor.
He's a real doctor?
Yeah, he's a real psychologist.
I didn't think he actually had...
No, he doesn't have his...
like, doctorate?
Well, he does, but he doesn't have his... He hasn't kept his license up.
Oh, right, okay.
So he can't actually, like legally practice right now. So, excuse me. There was a moment, like... when Britney Spears was sort of off the rails, and apparently I don't know why I heard this, but like Dr. Phil went to visit her like in some hospital or something, and people were like, why should Phil McGraw go? He doesn't have his license or whatever. And it's like, well, it's not like Oprah went. Like, Oprah's not a psychologist. At least Dr. Phil's a psychologist.
And maybe they like knew each other or something.
Or psychiatrist. I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
I always get confused about which one can prescribe medicine.
Like it's psychiatrists.
Psychiatry can...
And then it's like a psychologist is maybe someone who studies more of like behaviors, and psychiatry is like the treatment of... maybe. I could be wrong. Please correct me.
Hashtag corrections.
Hashtag I'm gesturing wildly for corrections. Wow, geez. Well, that took a turn for...
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Woo!
We're keeping it wild. Speaking of that, I guess Russia passed that law where domestic violence is no longer prosecuted, apparently.
What?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I won't go into details about that, though, because we already kind of...
Oh, man, I so admire Russia's politics,
It's so great. We should totally be BFFs with them. Thanks, DT, for that.
Stop. Stop, it's getting too political.
Hey there, Plain Donuts listeners. This is your co-host, Steve. Just here to interrupt you in the middle of today's episode of the podcast. Hope you had a fantastic Valentine's Day. Again, as always, just wanted to say thank you for your listenership. We really appreciate you guys. You're the very best. Even though you didn't have very many presidential questions or comments, it's okay. We'll forgive you this one time. I'm just kidding. We'll forgive you every time because we love you very much. But anyway, I wanted to mention that next week's episode is going to feature a YouTuber and streamer, my buddy Jacob. He's really fantastic. But you should prepare your mind to ask questions or have thoughts about games or streaming or YouTube. He's really knowledgeable and just a really cool guy with a really awesome sounding voice, and I know you'll like him a lot. So check it out next week and look out for questions or for us soliciting questions. You can find that on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/plaindonuts, or you can find us soliciting those questions on Twitter at twitter.com/yourplaindonuts or at yourplaindonuts. Or you can find all of that information and more information about the show and every episode at yourplaindonuts.com. That's YOUR plaindonuts.com. So, that's the best place to go. As always, I would love to ask you guys for a favor. I don't have anything super specific this week, like sending Lin-Manuel Miranda a picture of him as a centaur, but I would say, as I usually say, if this is your first time, welcome to the repetition. But the best thing you can do is to actually share this podcast with your friends. Tell people that it exists. That's our very best way of advertising. We don't really do much else outside of your word of mouth. So share it with a friend. Send them to yourplaindonuts.com or send them a link to one of your favorite episodes from yourplaindonuts.com. And the other way you can always help us is by leaving a review on iTunes. Just head to our iTunes page. You can also find links to that on yourplaindonuts.com. And from there, leave a review, leave a rating, and let the world know that you love this podcast because it's just the best one ever to possibly exist of all time ever. Right? Okay. It's been a little bit of a weird week. This might be a little bit of a weird middle, but you're the best. I love you. We love you. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the show. Goodbye.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Speaking of that, hey, we're gonna swing into presidents.
Yeah, so on Monday,
Day.
this coming Monday is President's Day, and so we asked a question online, like a few questions about like presidents, and I think one person responded.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. So, friend Zach asked this question. If you could revive one president, who would you bring back to run the country?
Like I would see Bill Clinton's not dead, but I liked Bill Clinton as a president, and
I think Jimmy Carter was pretty chill.
Yeah,
I mean, he was like,
if I say a thing about Bill Clinton, like, of course people are going to be like, oh, you had that whole scandal, but I'm like, but realistically, like, he left the country in a good position, but he's not dead, so I can't revive him to be president.
Curious.
Did you say Jimmy Carter?
Yeah, he's still alive though.
Is he?
He like beat cancer again.
Oh, nice.
He's like eternal. He like
Sick.
somehow drank out of the fountain of youth.
Do you remember when I showed you Hannibal Buress? The guy who talks about throwing up the guy like almost threw up on him.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Hannibal Buress is a fantastic comedian. Look him up. But he had this bit about how he was on an airplane and like this old guy was just walking through, like shaking everybody's hand through in like every section, and finally he came to Hannibal and he's like, hey, I'm former President Jimmy Carter. And he's like, I don't want to shake your hand. You just shook everyone on this plane's hand. Like,
oh, what? That's so weird.
So he happened to see Jimmy Carter on a plane. But man, it was pretty funny. I mean, I'll always and forever, I think we should bring back Theodore Roosevelt just because he was the coolest president.
He's chill.
Who, like, he had, like, boxing matches at the White House. Like, he would invite people. I love that
he's, like, so... I don't know if bored's the right word, but he's like, I want to do more stuff. Being a president just by itself is not exciting. Like, I need more excitement in my
Gotta go
life.
ride some moose.
Yeah, like, my stress levels aren't high enough. I mean, like, most people I feel like are trying to, like, manage that, but he's like, no, more. Like, I want more of that.
When I was campaigning for my second term, I got shot. There's nothing more exciting than that. I love
this, yeah.
Can I get shot again? Yeah. They're like, no, president, no.
Stop it, yeah. JFK was chill.
Oh man, yeah, let's bring back JFK. Like, that's inspiring.
JFK.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you Berliners. Just kidding. You didn't want that.
You didn't want Berliners.
You wanted donut holes.
You guys, I don't know how you could desire to be called a donut hole.
Or a D-hole.
What's up, D-holes?
Or donut. I don't know. I like saying donuts.
Donuts is fun to say.
Donuts is fine. D-holes is if you guys make us mad.
Yeah, we always get so mad and lash out at our audience.
All the time.
So constant and regularly. With sheer absolute violence.
With the reckless abandon.
I don't know. Why is Andrew Jackson on Mount Rushmore?
That's a very good question, because I feel like he did some pretty awful things.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them kind of did some...
Roosevelt's on Mount Rushmore too, right?
Yeah, I think he is. He is, yeah. His glasses. I remember
Yeah.
that.
And
We
Lincoln.
sure know.
So Washington, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and Andrew Jackson, right?
Yeah. Our American public school knowledge is really coming in handy.
We're really doing it.
Thanks, Betsy DeVos. Just kidding. Sorry.
Anyway,
Mount-
so I don't know why he's on Mount Rushmore, but
Yeah.
he was supposed to be pretty racist or something. Like, a lot of our former presidents are really racist, and maybe our current one too. Oh!
If you had like a horn, I would totally like do that. Yeah, I don't know. That's a
Man,
good
it's so funny.
question.
Like if you say that Trump is racist, and you have a lot of like right leaning friends, they'll all like jump out of the woodwork to tell you he's not racist, which is pretty funny because like it's fine. I understand the position. Like he's never said anything overtly racist, but like I can understand the other side too, where like David Duke's like, all right, Trump is president now. I'm definitely gonna run for office.
Yeah,
and
you're
you're
like,
like, no, you ran the KKK. That's not all
Like,
right.
please go
And then
sit down.
Trump isn't like, oh no, I
Don't-
denounced David
Yeah.
Duke. It's like, well, support, you know, or whatever.
It's
So it's
bizarre.
like,
So bizarre. Sorry.
so
Got a
anyway,
little
I don't know.
political.
I don't know if he's overtly racist or indirectly racist or not racist at all. But he doesn't seem to have a problem with being supported by racists.
Yeah.
So
And you can't deny that fact.
facts.
Facts.
Not even an alternative one.
It's a real fact.
That's a real one. You can look it up on the internet. It's always true on the internet.
Okay, so Steve and I asked a bunch of questions to ourselves
Yeah.
because people didn't.
Well,
wanna...
we kind of were trying to start the conversation,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
people just not into this presidential conversation,
They're not.
and these political topics are the reason why. They just don't want to get started with it.
All right. A question I asked is, what president would be the best sci-fi action hero?
Oh, I think I asked that question as well, basically. Yeah. I said which president would be the best action hero.
yeah.
So sci-fi or... See, I think a sci-fi action hero is a little different from a regular action
Yeah.
hero. So, best sci-fi action hero. It makes me think, even though it's not sci-fi, it makes me think of 24, when like the first season of 24 came out when in the George Bush era of presidency, and they had a black president, and I'm like, oh man, I'll bet that was like really like, whoa,
Yeah.
what a black president. And then the very next president was half black, to be fair. But anyway,
Everyone was like, what? Yeah.
they had the Allstate guy for president.
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot about that.
Well, I reminded you.
Thanks, Steve.
Maybe the Allstate guy would be a really good sci-fi president. I'm trying to think.
Like fictitious presidents and who would be the best.
Yeah, one like they have to be a hero, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Let me think. Who would be? I mean,
I mean,
like
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is sort of a sci-fi president.
that's kind of a sci-fi.
I'm
action
in the middle
hero.
of that novel right now.
Oh, really? How's that?
It's good, actually. So the way that I've described it is that it's sort of like it's written kind of like a history book where it's like describing what Lincoln did and like in a way that you are aware that the narrator is like telling you historical things. And it's not written like a novel, like in the normal novel approach or the sort of more common novel approach, which is like third person limited or like third person omniscient, where it's like the narrator is just there to support the characters and tell you the feelings of the characters. There's not a whole lot of that. It's mostly just telling you how the story goes using like the sort of tools of like saying, oh, Abraham Lincoln wrote in his journal and like all these various other things. So it's sort of interesting. The very beginning of it is like really good, basically about how this guy owned a store and had a novel that he was writing, and there was another person that kept showing up at his store, and then finally they like got really into this long conversation, and then he's like, why did you quit writing your novel? And he's like, I don't know, I just own the store now. And then that guy shows up later and gives him all this evidence of Abraham Lincoln as a vampire hunter. And he's like, I don't believe in vampires. So that guy happens to be a vampire, and he like takes him to all these vampire places. And then he's like, now you have to write Abraham Lincoln's story. And like, it's just really...
You're like, what?
So that's how it begins, is the author of the book being told to write Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. So
good.
So it's pretty funny. It's really good though. Like it's a little bit different if you're into like the sort of normal approach to like horror or fantasy or sci-fi writing. So, but I like it a lot. Abraham Lincoln would make a pretty great science fiction.
Yeah, he'd be pretty good.
Great. He would make a great action hero in general because he like...
Well, he's like a tall person.
Well, and he did real like manual labor too.
Yeah.
Well, so like you can imagine him like, you know, being tough or whatever. So the thing about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is if you don't know Lincoln's history, like if you're not familiar with like sort of the details of Lincoln's life, then you don't actually know which parts of history the author is using to support the vampire story. So, like, there's all these things that I'm like, I don't know if this is true about Lincoln or not. Like, did he actually fight with guys? And was he actually, like, or was that just something the author made up to support the vampire hunter story? Because a lot of it is, like, real history, and a lot of it is just, like, the vampire hunter stuff. It's really interesting.
I will have to add that to my books to read list.
It's an interesting one. It's good though.
That's good.
Have you ever, speaking of vampires, do you remember there's a book called World War Z that was a movie?
Oh yeah.
And the author wrote the zombie survival guide first.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Mm-hmm. So after the zombie survival guide came out, the guy that wrote it would go do like presentations at different colleges and that kind of thing. You know, just like tours or whatever. And my wife and I went to one, I think before we were married or maybe like right after we were married. But anyway, we went to one and it was really funny because like the way that he played it was always on the fence of maybe zombies exist, maybe they don't. Yeah. And so like either side of the audience who wants to believe it's totally fictional and just haha imaginary, he's kind of winking at them. But at the same time, the audience who wants to believe that this is totally real, zombies could come take over, we have to be prepared, like he's also acknowledging them, right? So like it's so funny to be in that kind of audience where you're like, oh man, I don't know what he really thinks at all, and that's the point, right? So it's pretty good.
That's interesting. I always wondered about people who really kind of want like a zombie apocalypse type scenario to happen, because usually I'm like, okay, let's say the zombie apocalypse happens. First of all, you are not an athletic person at all. You have no skills for hunting or fishing or survival. You're probably going to die. Like, let's be quite real. Most people are the zombies. They are not the survivors. Yeah. Like, I would probably be a zombie because I don't like to run, even if my life depended on it. And I don't have the will to live. So
so you'd be like, I ran a little ways, but this is getting tiring.
And I would just like kind of lay down, like, just bite me already, and let's just be done with it, you know?
So I don't know if I would survive or not. I have no idea, but I do know that, like, my willpower in the moment is a lot stronger than my willpower over the long course of time. So if I was constantly being tested to live, I feel like I would just be like, nope, surviving. You know, but like if the goal was to survive over the long term, I might not be able to make it. You know what I mean?
Like,
when I was a senior in high school, like I really wasn't very athletic or anything, but like I went to winter camp. And there was this contest of who could stand on one foot for the longest. And, like, I almost won because I got second place. And I don't know why I didn't win. But the guy who did win was, like, a karate guy and stuff. And so, like, but just because I was like, dang it, I'm not going to lose right now. You know, like, So I wonder if I would survive, but I doubt it, honestly. I'd probably be like, I'm gonna survive, and the zombie would be like, clunk, and I'm like,
oh, well,
I'm a zombie now. Dang.
Dang it, now I just want some brains. Well, that sure took a weird turn, huh?
That's all right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the Plain Donuts Podcast. I am your co-host, Steve.
I'm your co-host, Alicia.
We forgot to introduce
ourselves
50 minutes ago.
We're really organized.
Really good. So I asked the question, who is your favorite president? That's an easy one. President. Honestly, and I don't care what you think about this, it's over now. Barack Obama was my favorite president ever, next to Abraham Lincoln. Like, I loved Lincoln because I think it's really interesting what he did and the way he accomplished it. Mm-hmm. Although I haven't read a lot about it, and I'd like to read more. There's a book out there called, what is it called? It's basically about how he filled his cabinet with people who had opposed him so that he would have like opposing viewpoints in his cabinet. I thought that was really interesting.
That's really cool.
But yeah, I was saying this the other day. I don't know if we've ever had a president like personality wise that's classier than Obama. Like maybe
just, like, I guess regardless of how you feel about his politics, and how you feel about the decisions he's made. He seems like a really nice person that you wouldn't mind hanging out with and chatting with. Like, he seems like a guy who would have, like, an intelligent conversation with you and is compassionate, you know? Like,
for sure. Well, and I think what I think about, like, when I say classy, what I mean is, like, first of all, you couldn't really get him in a situation where he was super uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Even being asked, like, really difficult questions and stuff, he was never, like, it never seemed like he was out of his element. And on top of that, it seemed like he always could, like, make the people he was talking with feel comfortable talking with him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So to me, that's sort of like if I think of, I don't know, we've been watching Downton Abbey, so I think of all these, like, hoity-toity events that they have to have, and they all have this protocol and procedure, right? But, like, it seems like if you can make people comfortable in those situations, then you're, like, sort of a better Lord whatever than, or Duke or whatever, than somebody who's like, well, we just follow the protocol. And if you can't do it, then
the Earl of Grantham or whatever he was called.
Yeah, that's right. The Earl of Grantham.
Yeah, no. I pull that Downton knowledge out of my hat. I haven't seen that show in many years.
Man, it's horrible. I hate it.
Steve hates it.
I love it, but I hate it so much.
My favorite president, I don't know. I want to kind of gravitate towards more recent presidents.
Yeah.
But
Nixon.
All-time fave, top 5. No.
JFK would be a good one.
JFK is pretty good. I don't know.
You probably know more about this subject than I do.
About honestly. JFK?
No, about presidents in general.
Geez, I don't know. I haven't really read, like, a lot of president biographies, and maybe I should.
I'm gonna look up what that book was, actually. Because we love, like, Dead's periods of silence.
We sure do. On this podcast, it's our favorite. I think, I don't know. That's hard to say. And I'll kind of go out on a limb here and say George Bush. He's kind of in the same boat, I think, like, on the other side of the fence as Barack Obama. He seems like, I mean, people thought he's really dumb, but he also was kind of a goofy person. And I don't think he ever really wanted to 100% to do the job that he wanted to do.
Okay.
And maybe that's just making assumptions about him, but I don't know, like, the way he would, like, say things, or just the memory of him dodging the shoes in my mind is just, like, so stuck in my brain of him, like, dodge 1, dodge 2. Like, people made a video game of where, when this happened, it was probably, like, one of the first, I'll say it's one of the first, like, memes of him dodging the shoe, of him, like, dodging, and you could, like, press the space bar and, like, make him dodge the shoe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He wasn't bad, and, like, that was kind of a weird time for the country anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I don't know. There's, like, a lot. I like, FDR was pretty good.
A lot of people love FDR,
and I
actually.
think he put some really great programs
I
in
think
place.
FDR had like 3 terms as president.
Yeah, he did, and that's actually why they have the
term limit.
Yeah, term limits for presidents. And I
because
can't
FDR
remember.
just would have kept
He's
being
like,
president.
he's like, keep going. I have multiple sclerosis, but keep going. Actually, I don't know if he had MS. He probably had.
He had something else that kept him in a wheelchair.
Degenerative, muscle disease. But he just wanted to keep trucking and going on, and the United States was like, no, slow down, man. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like even though some presidents have maybe had some really problematic things about them, there's always a good quality to pull out of each of them, and that's me being an eternal optimist.
That book is called Team of Rivals.
Team of Rivals. Interesting.
Yeah. 945 pages? No,
Bring it on.
I'm just joking.
The longest book I've read in a minute was Anna Karenina. And I think that was 700-ish pages, 700 to 800 pages. And, like, by the end I was like, and that took me a while to get through. Just because there were so many Russian names and places, and it was really hard after a while for me to care about them. Like, when you introduce, like, 50 characters, like, I don't, like, which one do I like? They all kind of are terrible.
You would hate The Wheel of Time. I love The Wheel of Time. It was my favorite fantasy series growing up. Now that we're talking about favorite presidents, of course. It was my favorite fantasy series, but the longest book is like 1,300 pages long or something. I'm trying to look it up. It's called The Shadow Rising.
Shadow Rising.
Let's see. Wheel of Time number 4 on Amazon. Amazon, it is... Where are your informations? Features and details. I'm sorry. 1,007 pages.
Wow.
It was... that whole like series, all the books were like greater than 800 pages long.
Okay, so... Wait, each individual book was greater than 800 pages. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm tracking now.
The book the series is so long.
How long does that... So how many books is that?
I think it's 13 or 14.
Dang.
I think...
That was me trying to censor myself and really poorly.
Let's see. Total number of Wheel of Time books.
It is.
Here we go.
I'm talking, so there's no silence. As Steve looks this up.
Frickin' Wikipedia.
He is searching, and I am looking
books
at his forehead.
It's a total of 14 if you count. No, it's a total of 14 books.
14? Okay.
And there's a 0th book called New Spring. Yeah, really good. If you like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to read more fantasy. It's hard, though.
Yeah, and fantasy by nature is like, here's a bunch of characters in a weird world, and we're going to tell you about all of it.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't have the patience. I just want to know about things that I know about and not have to have it explained to me because I'm boring. I read nonfiction books about journalists.
Nice. I grew up reading fantasy and not so much nonfiction. I would like to read more. I'd like to read Team of Rivals, in fact.
It does sound interesting.
I did listen to Felicia Day's book, which you didn't like, actually.
I did not like that book.
I'm sorry, Felicia. I liked your book a lot.
Yeah, I was not a fan.
But Alicia was like, why are you name dropping so much? Or something like that.
Why are you acting like a Mary Sue in your own book, Felicia Day? That's how it felt to me. That is, I am HO, in my humble opinion, how it felt. The last chapter really saved it for me because she actually really humanized herself. Like, she was like doxxed. I'm like, okay, this Felicia Day I like. This Felicia Day... Just go away.
I think it's funny that you say that because she was like very self-deprecating through the whole thing.
And I think it wasn't like it was self-deprecating, but it was like just a humble brag. Like, oh, I have to work so hard to be number one. It's like, oh, okay. Like,
well, so when she talked about how like she was part of that women's group where they were like encouraging each other to like chase their dreams and stuff. And then she like didn't write on her screenplay forever and ever and ever, and she just kept like lying to them and stuff. Do you remember that part?
I remember that part. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that's not very. I mean, she's definitely describing herself in a way where it's like, oh man, you made some bad decisions. Yeah. That's not very Mary Sue. There's another series of books starting with The Name of the Wind, and A Wise Man's Fear is the second one, and the third one's not out yet, but these are by Patrick Rothfuss, and actually they're making a series of television shows about it, produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, there he is. There it is.
It's so good. I was so pumped when I found out about that. And in fact, Lin-Manuel Miranda has talked about...
and I feel like you mentioned this before,
too. How this... I think it was the story of Tonight... kind of, he wanted to evoke the same feeling that a scene from The Name of the Wind brings up. But, like, those books are so good, but I can't remember what I was getting to. I really wanted to bring them up and mention them. Oh, yeah, because people say the main character, whose name I don't know exactly how to say, but I would say Kvoth, maybe. It's a very strange spelling, but the first book, they're like, oh, this is such a Mary Sue... Like, he can do no wrong. Yeah. He's, like, invincible. And by the end of the second book, I was like, if you can say a lot about this guy, but, man, he's not a Mary Sue because he has made some terrible decisions really and put himself in horrible situations. So, like, I even tweeted at Patrick Rothfuss at that time and was like, you can say a lot about Kvoth, but after reading that book, he's not a Mary Sue for sure.
So Mary Sue, what's the...
There's a male version of it? Is that what you're asking
I feel
about?
like there is.
I forget the name of it.
Yeah, but I think Mary Sue covers everything. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just would personally not get along with Felicia Day. I don't know. Not my favorite book, but...
Gary Stu?
Gary Stu? No, that's bad. Is there like a non-binary... overarching...
I don't know.
I feel like...
a non-binary archetype for that?
Yeah, there must be. There's gotta be one.
I don't know. Oh, man. I had this friend that was telling me he was writing a book, and, like, I was like, oh, yeah, I think it's important when you're writing a novel to, like, try and make sure that your characters aren't just always succeeding, and that sometimes they're being told no and sometimes they fail, and like that's the thing that helps people to like relate to the characters. And he's like, nah, I've been writing this book for a while where like the main character is awesome and he knows it and everyone around him knows it, and I was like, where's the conflict, my friend? Like, I don't
just like whispering it to yourself, this is gonna be really bad.
Well, like the thing is like you gotta a lot of authors are like, the best books are the books where the characters just get to the worst possible situations and then work out of them, right? And you can't do that if you just want your character to be happy and survive and be cool all the time.
Yeah.
Although sometimes it's super frustrating because it's like...
Why are you making the wrong decisions?
Yeah, or like, why are you whining so much?
That's kind of how I felt maybe about Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, she did literally lose everything. And it was in a very dark place.
Yeah.
Figuratively and literally. So I should not say anything about her.
You can't understand where she's coming from. You haven't walked in those shoes.
I haven't walked in those pristine
Go to District 12 or whatever for a while.
The Appalachian Mountains. Future universe of America.
Future America.
Future America. Oh, geez.
Anyway, do you wish Hamilton had been president?
Alexander Hamilton. I mean, I wish Lin-Manuel Miranda as Hamilton as president. Because, I mean, obviously it's written in, like, from Hamilton's perspective, that musical. So he's obviously going to be like the most interesting, charismatic, you know, troubled, redeeming character.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's like, oh yeah, like Lin-Manuel's Hamilton, totally 100%. Like, would love that.
You know, it's interesting because I don't think we've had any, like, and maybe I'm wrong, and I just don't know the ones, or maybe Lincoln falls in this category, but I don't think we've had any like genius level presidents where it's like, because to be president, like part of what you have to be is like charismatic, and a lot of it is like winning people over, which isn't necessarily always the forte of somebody who is like super intelligent and like really, really good at stuff, or really, I guess super intelligent is the best way to describe it. But like, I don't know that we've ever had a president that was like really like genius level intelligent. And you could say that about Hamilton. Like, he invented our system of finance, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole, the stock market and all that crap. And he just has such a ton of writing that's out there that you can read from him and stuff. So I think it would be really interesting to have had someone like that as president. And he was just like super open, like way too open.
Yeah, a little bit too open.
So
I think, and you actually bring up an interesting point, because a friend of mine posted on Facebook recently, you know, he was looking at all of like the presidents and the congressmen and senators and cabinet members, and just kind of going into their education and background, and it's usually like law.
Yeah,
you know, all of them are law. And he's like, where are the scientists? Like, where are the STEM? Like, where are the engineers? Like, where are the people who are in humanities? Like, of course, if you always attract like a very specific personality type, a very specific like frame, and just education, you're going to get these people who, and it kind of dissolves into like a weird popularity contest, like who's the coolest who can make fun of the other kid, you know, situation. So it'd be interesting if it was kind of revamped in a different way, which will probably never happen in our lifetime, and the apocalypse is upon us. But you know, it's interesting enough to possibly think about, maybe after the apocalypse we can build our own new utopia.
I don't know.
Knows?
Maybe if we survive this tweet storm of a presidency, afterwards we'll be like, hey, so that wasn't so great.
Yeah,
like,
let's try again.
Let's try a different approach.
Different tactic.
I don't know. It's funny though, because like, if let's say Trump got impeached, like, it's interesting, like all the different people who would be president after him, like it just goes down a weird line. So
so first it's vice president, then speaker of the house, then it goes through the cabinet, right?
I think so.
And then is it like majority whip, minority whip?
I think so. Okay, I don't know for sure.
But then they always like, you're the designated survivor, Department of Agriculture person. You're like, why me? You know. There's
a new TV show about that.
With
Kiefer Sutherland.
No, maybe it's Kevin. Not Kevin Spacey. Jeez. I get all my white actors mixed up because they all look the same.
I really think it might be Kiefer Sutherland.
You think so? Jeez. We've been Googling a lot this episode.
I know, we're the worst, actually. Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I knew it. I'm the best.
Nailed it.
Okay, so we've been talking for like an hour on this super entertaining podcast with all the really good jokes and like spousal abuse.
Oh, yeah. We have all the jokes, and they are tremendous jokes.
We talked a lot about books this podcast.
We did, actually. Yeah. We're just me, an intellectual.
We're Alicia, this a New York intellectual.
Me as an intellectual.
American high society.
Jeez, we're only drinking the 13-year. We're such amateurs.
So anyway, that's been Plain Donuts, I guess. I hope you guys have a really lovely week. Yeah. And next week we'll try to ask questions that are like more interesting.
Yeah, sorry everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Share with your friends.
Comment down below. I'm pointing.
It's been fun. Good job.
Good job, presidents. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.